So, what could be great about this? That's going to give you some blueprints for your visualization process. So you've got, okay, this is going to be great because I'm going to be able to do this with my life. Now, what am I willing to do that? Figuring out what your goal and your action plan is going to be.
So, like, when you say, what am I willing to do, it's like, okay, if I need to make so many network contacts, I'm going to go to networking events, and perhaps something you'd be willing to give up is that hour or 2 hours or 3 hours of TV that you're killing your mind with anyway.
Absolutely.
Except for this show. I mean, this show is fantastic and as brain food, but...
Absolutely. I mean, knowing your ratios for calls, if you're someone who knows that they have to make cold calls, making as many cold calls in a few days as you can to develop your ratio, and then setting the plan week after week from that. I mean, whatever the case might be, knowing the steps that need to be taken.
So if, all right, let's say you're only closing 3 out of 100, then you need to make 100 calls to get X dollars. And then now do what you need to do to bring your ratio down to where, you're closing 20 out of them.
Well, certainly work on building your ratio up, actually, obviously. But then, I mean, setting the time, for the first month or so, you might get from 3 to maybe 5 or 6 out of 100. You obviously went up. But say, you don't have the time blocked out to make, however many, say you want to make the 5 sales, 6 sales a week, you got to budget out the time to make those 100, maybe 200 dials. So prioritize time management, it all relates back to that, and really just, focusing on what it is that you want to do. But even before you're making the calls, to not walk into the situation like, all right, now it's time to make my calls. I know if I make 100 of these, I'm going to get 3 of them. To be excited about it, to know what your purpose is. If you know you're going to make 3 sales, it could be the first 3 out of that 100. Are you going to quit after those 3? I'd hope not. But
hope not.
Typically, that's
you're just staying at the same level and not
absolutely. And I've read books about people who they've set a goal to make $75,000 in a year, and by October they hit that mark and they couldn't make a sale the rest of the
year. Or they couldn't make a sale for the rest of it.
And they're like, man, I can't wait till next year when I can start selling things again.
So wait a second, you still got 2 months, and that happens more often than you would think it would.
All the time.
I'm
guilty of it too. I'm not gonna.
And as we all are, as
lie.
I have been, as well. It goes back to that unconscious level of I'm worth X amount of dollars, and once you get over that, your brain's like, hey, wait a second, I'm out of my comfort zone. Let's go back to where we were.
And I think comfort zone right there. That's a great phrase, because so many people, I even have a difficult time identifying my comfort zone now at this point, because there's not too much I'm not willing to do. If someone gives me a suggestion and I realize that I never thought of it before, or maybe I'm opposed to the idea, I'm like, all right, that's what I need to do because I didn't think of it and someone else thinks it's a good idea, or do some research on it. But being able to identify where your comfort zone are and step out of that, a lot of people are intimidated by coming to the networking events and standing up and doing their minute commercial and just throwing yourself out there and letting it happen.
There's a few ways that you can get beyond that. Of course, just getting up and doing it. There's Toastmasters clubs and a lot of that, which I'm a big fan of. Toastmasters, where they help you step out of your comfort zone, meeting people. There's so many different ways that you can. And
a lot of the events, the 2 events that I host, they're free networking events, so it's not like people have to feel and kind of be obligated. I've gotten different response. My Wednesday group is a little bit of a more intimate group. It's between 10 and 15 people. And, I've got so many different compliments from people that they're like, you know what, you do a wonderful job with this group, and I just like it because it's casual. We're basically having conversations with each other, but it is a structured group. And then my Friday group is anywhere from 15 to 30 people. And I don't want to say it's more intimidating, but being that there's more people there,
you've got more people.
Everyone's got to stand up and do it. It's a little bit louder, so they have to project their voice. So then, especially if they're sitting on the other side, because we have the upstairs room, if the downstairs is making a lot of noise, the people near the downstairs have to yell even louder. Right. And just getting people to do whatever is possible and just be confident about what they're doing. If you're confident about whatever service, your business, whatever it is you have, just be able to project that, and especially have the excitement with it, so everybody else is able to enjoy that as well.
It's a skill that I think everybody needs to learn. Now you have these 2 groups. These are 2 groups that you're